Karstens. Kello stands for news. Always has, always will. Kello.
Good morning. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. Great to have you along. And here we go.
On the air.
I love the Greg Belfrage Show.
I've been listening to you for years, Greg. Thanks for all you do and keeping us informed.
You sound a little taller on radio. Dispensing a daily dose of common sense. No prescription required.
Americans love a winner and will not tolerate it.
Might want to have my stuff here.
Play to win all the time. I don't believe in the no-win scenario.
This is the Greg Belfrage.
Good morning, my friend. The marketplace of ideas is open. Nice to have you along on this Thursday morning, February 27th. It was just heartbreaking as you hear about the death of Gene Hackman. He has passed away. Now, he just turned 95. So it's not as if Gene Hackman was a young guy, but these are some kind of odd circumstances. No foul play. But Gene Hackman, along with his wife and their dog, were found dead in their home yesterday afternoon. So Gene Hackman's wife, Betsy, was 63. And so at this point, we don't know what caused the death. Again, the only thing that we're hearing is there was no foul play, which is that at least is good news. But something obviously wrong there because both Hackman, his wife, and their dog are all dead. So there must have been something going on in the home. And Gene Hackman just, I went to Internet Movie Database this morning to look at the number of films that he has done. You know, he's done a lot of them that come right to the top of your mind. I think his work, especially in the French Connection, Superman, Unforgiven. I thought it was incredible in Unforgiven, the Clint Eastwood film. And he did a number of others, and you start looking at his career. I mean, it's just absolutely incredible. Enemy of the State, remember that? A number of different films. Wyatt Earp, The Firm, and you just go on and on. Postcards from the Edge, Mississippi Burning, he was in that. He was incredible. And then he was in a number of the Superman movies. I think at least 3 of them that I'm aware of that he was in the Superman films. Reds, A Bridge Too Far. I mean, these are classic films. French Connection and French Connection 2. I mean, it just goes on. I loved him in Young Frankenstein. Absolutely hilarious. So I'm curious to get your thoughts. What's your favorite Gene Hackman movie? We'll open up the phone lines a little bit this morning, lighten it up this morning. So again, Gene Hackman, again, being 95 years old. So, but also the circumstances, I don't think anyone is too shocked at his passing. But the circumstances of he and his wife Betsy and their dog all being found dead, no foul play, but that is a very big story this morning. Let's touch on some of the other big stories. You had Supreme Court Justice John Roberts yesterday paused the federal judge's order requiring that the Trump administration had to pay around $2 billion in foreign aid funds to contractors. So this is as the Trump administration trying to block the release of USAID funding. A federal judge had required that by midnight. And so the Trump administration going to the Supreme Court and saying that this is the judge's order had created an untenable payment plan at odds with the president's obligation under Article 2 to protect the integrity, of these federal payments and so on, foreign aid, all of these things. And the memo said that officials were clearing significant waste stemming from decades of institutional drift. There's no question about that. Decades that we have seen this go on. So the Supreme Court Justice John Roberts pausing that federal judge's order yesterday. Also, we've got Attorney General Pam Bondi saying it's the Department of Justice will release the Jeffrey Epstein files today. She was on Jesse Waters' program on Fox last night, and she said the public should expect to see at least some information being made public today. And she said there are well over, and this will make you sick, 200 victims, over 250 actually, she said. So we have to make sure that their identity, talking about the victims here, we have to make sure that their identity is protected and their personal information. But other than that, she said, I think tomorrow. Other than that, I think tomorrow, Jesse, breaking news right now, you're going to see some Epstein information being released by my office. So this is likely to be a very big story today. She said what you're going to see is a lot of flight logs, a lot of names, a lot of information. But it's pretty sick what that man did, along with his co-defendant. So we are likely to, again, I'm not sitting on the edge of my chair going, yeah, I got this. What's this latest Epstein information? It's like, I think the Attorney General is right. I think most of it's going to make us sick as we learn about what it was he was doing and what he was up to. Also, the chairman of the House Judiciary Committee, Jim Jordan, subpoenaed the FBI for information. Let's go to Straight Arrow News. That's where these stories are coming from now. Got to group these together for you. This is a look from Straight Arrow News. Jim Jordan has subpoenaed the FBI for information on investigations during the Biden administration. So the subpoenas were previously sent when Christopher Wray was FBI director. Now, with the change in administration, they're hoping to receive more cooperation from the new director of the FBI, Kash Patel. Jordan said, telling Patel the documents could help restore public trust and transparency at the Bureau. And Jordan said, under Christopher Wray, the FBI departed from its core public safety mission, suffered from senior leadership failures, refused any real transparency or accountability for its actions. It would be nice to see a change in that. Also from Straight Arrow News, engineers at the Department of Government Efficiency have been working on a program that has the capability to automatically generate lists of government employees, ranking them in firing order. Wired reported on this that the engineers appear to be editing the coding in the program. So a government human resource employee said the data would still need to be confirmed manually, which it just makes sense. Okay, you're using automated systems, but yeah, you need somebody overseeing it manually. So they're working on an artificial intelligence tool that will help them then with these cuts to the federal workforce. The engineers at DOGE are recoding auto RIF, and it stands for automatic reduction in force. That was developed by the Department of Defense over 20 years ago. has the capability to automatically generate lists of government employees, ranking them and how, subject they are to being fired. Also from Straight Arrow News, the FBI is investigating the plan to infiltrate Donald Trump's 2016 campaign using 2 female undercover agents. The off-the-books investigation was launched by former director James Comey, and the 2 agents apparently aimed to build romantic relationships in order to gather information from Trump and his campaign staff. So the Inspector General at the Justice Department, Michael Horowitz, had previously found serious mistakes and bias in these FBI investigations related to the Trump campaign, as well as Hillary Clinton's email server, because which they totally just let go. Also, Straight Arrow News has got, and I've been hearing this story over the course of the last couple of days, and it's one of those things that just it makes you shake your head. It's a little bit jaw-dropping, shocking, I think. You've got Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers replacing terms. This is his budget proposal, replacing terms like mother with inseminated person in state law. So no more references to mother. It would be inseminated person. And that kind of stuff just blows me away. What do we need to do to get those kinds of minds out of government? It's wow. Also, you had President Trump holding his first cabinet meeting at the White House, and Elon Musk was there. Elon Musk, of course, not a member of the cabinet, but he was there. And so there were journalists. This is from One American News Network. After constant journalist questions related to how the Trump administration's other cabinet members feel about Elon Musk being frequently present at the White House and involved in all of this, the president said the entire cabinet is extremely happy with him, with Musk. So the president yesterday on his True Social account pushing back about some of the rumors, and he said in all capital letters, all cabinet members are extremely happy with Elon. The media will see that at the cabinet meeting this morning. And there were photos of, Elon Musk there. The focus really is on Elon Musk. And so a lot of photos of Elon Musk, and you see him interacting with with other members of the cabinet. And based on what I saw, it seemed to be smiles all the way around. Also from One American News Network, according to a new analysis, President Trump has answered an astounding 1,009 questions from reporters in the first month of his second administration. Former President Joe Biden's first month total was 141. You got Donald Trump, and this is, and I knew this was going to be the case. I knew this would happen. This is Donald Trump. He's out there and he's holding frequent news conferences. I was amazed by this during his first term, where you had President Trump, would stop and he would visit with reporters, and whether it would be in the Rose Garden or, wherever it might be, he's boarding an airplane, he would start answering questions. And then you would see some of these news conferences, they'd be going on 30 minutes, 40 minutes that he was answering questions. It was pretty incredible. So I don't think it's too surprising that we find out in his first month in office, he's answered over 1,000 questions. And in the same period of time, Joe Biden answered less than 200. Also, as we're looking at things locally, there's a story at Dakota Scout this morning about road hunting. And there were some new road hunting rules that were proposed that would have increased the distance that hunters would need to be from, homes, livestock, so on, before they could fire. And those got shot down by the state legislature yesterday. I always think those issues are really important in our state. They're important both for those who own property. It's also, in rural areas, especially if you've got livestock of any kind. Also really important for those who are out and do not own land on which to hunt. They may own property, within towns, but don't actually own land on which to hunt. That becomes a big issue. So these new road hunting rules were shot down in the state Senate. Also, the South Dakota, this is the House Judiciary Committee, voted 10-3 yesterday to send a bill reducing penalties for drug ingestion to the floor. There was some contested testimony on both sides of that issue, so they've decided to send it to the floor without recommendation, and we'll see how that moves forward. This is from Sioux Falls Live, and it caught my attention this morning. They're saying if your car needs new license plates or updated registration tags, you better plan ahead. Long lines have returned to the Minnehaha County Treasurer's Office after they're seeing the recent slowdown appears related to the statewide rollout of new motor vehicle title and registration system. It's called 605 Drive. And anytime you start with new systems, there can be some glitches, and that appears to be what's happening there. There's more details on that story at Sioux Falls Live this morning. Other big stories. Let's go to Semaphore. Britain's prime minister, due to press President Trump on security guarantees for Kyiv. There have been a number of meetings then over ending the Ukraine war. So this comes a day before President Zelensky of Ukraine due to sign a minerals deal with the United States. The president has said he will not offer Kyiv protection beyond very much, he said. So there's been a lot of concern among Europe. Also from Semaphore, the Trump administration telling U.S. government agencies to begin preparing for mass layoffs. Efforts to slash the federal workforce. Thousands of workers have been fired so far, but as you know, a lot of lawsuits also have been fired, and so they're fighting over this. Economists say that the campaign could slow buoyant U.S. growth. In 35 states, there are at least one county in which more than 5% of the workforce is employed by the federal government. So what they're saying is the impact of all of these federal layoffs could be felt throughout the country, which doesn't surprise me at all. Also, an unvaccinated child died of measles in the United States. It's the first death in the United States from measles in more than a decade. So measles kills around 1 in every 1,000 infected children. It's highly contagious. But this is the first death from measles that we have seen in over 10 years. So those are big stories at semaphore this morning. Over at Newsmax, I mentioned British Prime Minister Keir Starmer meeting with Donald Trump today. They've got a story on this. He will say the only way to he'll be pleading for a U.S. backstop to any Ukraine ceasefire, saying this would be the only way to stop Russia from invading again. So Starmer arrived in Washington late yesterday. This is following the visit by President of France, Emmanuel Macron, who was just in Washington this week. So Starmer told a reporter the security guarantee has to be sufficient to deter Putin. If there is a ceasefire without a backstop, it will simply give him the opportunity to wait to come again, because his ambition in relation to Ukraine is pretty obvious. Also, the Supreme Court yesterday, and I touched on this earlier, Fox News had a story on this. Newsmax has got one as well. The Supreme Court yesterday temporarily blocking a judge's order. And this is because the Trump administration had been facing a deadline to release billions of dollars in U.S. aid. And Chief Justice John Roberts said that order will remain on hold until the High Court has a chance to weigh in more fully. So that's where it stands for now. And that's a look at the big stories this morning. Nice to have you along. Welcome to the Greg Belfrage Show. 627. Mostly clear, 34. This hour of our show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Camp and Robbins, weekdays at 2. Kello, News Talk 1320, 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, the Give You More Tire and Automotive Store.
Are you tired of chronic pain, fatigue, and sleepless nights caused by fibromyalgia? Discover relief with hyperbaric oxygen therapy at Midwest Hyperbarics. Don't let fibromyalgia control your life. Visit MidwestHyperbarics.com.
Bring charm from the outdoors into your home with Renewal by Andersen picture and combination windows. Optimizing a beautiful view and light in the bedroom, kitchen, or living room from ABC Seamless of Sioux Falls. Call 605-646-2667 today.
That's ABC Seamless.
We're good at making excuses for things we don't want to do.
I can't work late because my cat has a job interview.
Unfortunately, we're also good at making excuses for things we shouldn't do, like driving drunk.
There's nothing on the back roads with cows.
The truth is, there's no good reason to drink and drive, not even if you stick to the back roads. If you drink, don't drive. No excuses. Brought to you by the South Dakota Office of Highway Safety, South Dakota Broadcasters Association, and this station.
Seems everything costs more these days. Gas, groceries, and when's the last time you checked your wireless bill? Yikes. When it comes to big wireless, if you're
Forgive me, I have some things happening here at work that are really weighing on me.
Fast, reliable nationwide coverage without the big wireless bill. Plans start at just $20 a month, and that's not a short-term promo. But don't just take our word for it. Here's Jackie and Veronica, real customers.
One of the challenges when you're on the air is, shutting out all of the thoughts that don't relate to what we're doing. You really have to compartmentalize, you know what I mean?
Call or click to see how much you can save today.
Having trouble doing that this morning.
You may be overpaying. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com. That's 1-888-FREEDOM or consumercellular.com today. Real people pay.
.630, mostly clear, and 34. You're listening to the Greg Belfrage Show on Kello.
The actor Gene Hackman is dead, 95 years
Yeah,
old.
that's
Found
just
with his wife,
sad.
Betsy Arakawa, and their dog at their home in New Mexico. Among his best roles, the corrupt sheriff Little Bill Daggett in Unforgiven.
All right, gentlemen.
Yeah.
He's got one barrel left. When he fires that, take out your pistols and shoot him down like the mangy scoundrel he is.
Police say there's no indication of foul play. In order to resume foreign aid payments by today is put on hold by Chief Justice John Roberts. The Trump administration says the United States Agency for International Development is wasteful and corrupt.
Democrats criticized recent cuts to USAID by the Trump administration and the Department of Government Efficiency, saying services provide international aid to 212 countries around the world to, quote, promote international peace and security.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz challengers are told to respond by noon tomorrow. America's listening to Fox News.
Kello News Time, 6:31. I'm Joe Bowman in the Kello.com News Center. The man charged with murdering Moody County Deputy Sheriff Ken Prorock last February during the pursuit is asking for a delay in the trial as he faces the death penalty. Joseph Hook is set to appear in a motions hearing in the Moody County Courthouse this afternoon. The first-degree murder trial is scheduled to begin in May. However, Hook's attorney requested it be delayed on grounds of further psychiatric evaluation and to seek a potential insanity plea. South Dakota Attorney General Marty Jackley says he will be attending today's hearing. According to Jackley, the alleged murder of a state law enforcement officer qualifies for a capital punishment case, which would be death by lethal injection. The mayor of Sioux Falls is looking for young folks to get involved. More specifically, Mayor Paulton Haken's office is accepting applications for 2025-26 Mayor's Youth Council. Lincoln High School senior Kinley Freese is completing her second year on the council.
I didn't think I was going into a government path, but now after my experience, I definitely could see myself going into that. I had so many questions and so many curiosities.
Yeah,
All right.
16. A measure that would require acceptance of cash at school-sponsored events advances in Pierre. The House Education Committee yesterday advanced a measure that would require public K-12 schools to accept physical cash at school events. The bill comes in response largely due to the Sioux Falls School District making a move last year to only accept debit or credit card payments at their school-sponsored events. Representative John Sidarta says a no-cash policy may exclude some loved ones from attending their kids' events.
Admitting into the game. These parents just want to be able to see their kids at their sporting events and concerts.
The bill moves to the House floor for a vote. And in college basketball, the Coyotes lost to North Dakota State 82-78 yesterday. Tonight, the Jackrabbits tip off against Oral Roberts, and the Lady Jacks host Denver. From the Kello.com News Center, I'm Joe Bowman.
The news never stops. Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9.
Another mild forecast today. We're back into the upper 50s. We'll even catch some 60-degree weather just west of Sioux Falls. A west wind at 10 to 20. Tonight, fair conditions, lows near 36. Tomorrow, strong northwest winds will develop 30 to 50 with a high temperature in the mid-50s. Sharply cooler Saturday. From the Storm Center at Timberland TV, I'm Brian Karstens.
Unleashing the sharks in your think tank.
You're going to need a bigger boat.
Kello News Talk 1320, 107.9 and Kello.com.
Today, an interesting story about what I'm calling AI fallout and stolen knowledge. I'm Kim Commando for LinkedIn Jobs. Post a job for free and find qualified candidates quickly at linkedin.com/Kim. Chegg is an online education company that helps kids with their homework. Most of Chegg's website traffic came from when Google referred students to Chegg, but Google's AI now supplies the needed answers directly to the students. No other website, including Chegg, is included. Consequently, Chegg's business has all but evaporated. And Chegg is not alone. Many other websites have gone dark because of Google AI, but Chegg is doing what no other site has done. They're suing Google, claiming that Google's AI stole its tutoring knowledge from Chegg. On this, I wish Chegg good luck. If they do win, the consequences for AI would be disastrous because all AI operates using knowledge stolen from literally everywhere. Join over 600,000 folks who get my free newsletter every day. Sign up at getkim.com. As a small business owner, you don't have the luxury of clocking out early. Your business is on your mind 24/7. So when you're hiring, you need a partner that grinds just as hard as you do. That hiring partner is LinkedIn Jobs. LinkedIn makes it easy to post your job for free, share it with your network, and get qualified candidates that you can manage all in one place. Their new feature can help you write job descriptions and then quickly get your job in front of the right people. Either post your job for free or pay to promote. Promoted jobs get 3 times more qualified applicants. At the end of the day, the most important thing to your small business is the quality of candidates. And with LinkedIn, you can feel confident that you're getting the best. Find out why more than 2.5 million small businesses use LinkedIn for hiring today. Find your next great hire on LinkedIn. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim. That's linkedin.com/Kim to post your job for free. Terms and conditions apply. Do it today. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/Kim.
The Kim Commando Show, live Saturday mornings at 9. Kello News Talk 1320 107.9.
The Kello Hotline is sponsored by Tires, with 2 locations to make sure you have the proper traction this winter.
Why pay more for prescriptions? Stop overpaying and start saving with SingleCare. It's easy. Find your prescription on singlecare.com, show the coupon at the pharmacy, and start saving. SingleCare works at pharmacies nationwide and is completely free to use, whether you have insurance or not. So the next time you fill a prescription, check SingleCare to make sure you're getting the best price. Take control of your prescription costs. Go to singlecare.com or download the free app today.
ZipRecruiter is the place. ZipRecruiter is the place for talented teachers, savvy software developers, and master mixologists. ZipRecruiter is the place where you meet all these people and more. That's because ZipRecruiter is the place for job seekers who are looking for new opportunities. In fact, ZipRecruiter helps 10 million people with their job search every day, so you can find the right candidates right away. Try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/free. That's ziprecruiter.com/free.
Texting privacy policy and terms and conditions posted at textline.us. Texting rules for recurring automated text marketing messages. Message data rates may apply. Reply stop. Consult the doctor prior to use.
Looking to get doctor-prescribed medication like Ozempic or Wegovy? Zelty can help you get GLP-1 medications affordably, whether you have insurance and even if you don't, and 100% online. It's simple. Just text coverage to 200-300 to get started. Zelty can help you get Ozempic, Wegovy, or Zepbound covered by your insurance company, so you pay as little as $0 for the medication if prescribed. No insurance? No problem. Zelty can ship semaglutide or tirzepatide, the active ingredients in Ozempic and Zepbound, for as little as $151 a month versus $1,000 plus for name brand medications. Either way, it's high quality medical care, weight loss coaching, and access to game-changing medications, all 100% online with Zelty and affordable with or without insurance. So don't wait. Text coverage to 200-300 to get started today on your weight loss journey with Zelty. Text now for a link to your exclusive offer. Text coverage to 200-300. That's coverage to 200-300. Text coverage to 200-300.
More happens in South Dakota every day than we can fit on one radio station, even Kello. That's why there's Kello.com.
With local stories, podcasts, and other exclusive content.
For more of South Dakota, go to Kello.com. Kello News Talk 1320.
$6.39. It's mostly clear at 34 currently at Kello. Thanks so much for starting your day with the Greg Belfrage Show. I really appreciate having you here. This hour brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month. You can drop me an email anytime, greg.belfrage@kelo.com. Marcel emailed me as I was sharing that story, going through big stories, talking about Wisconsin then and changing, the phrase woman to, a pregnant woman to inseminated person. So Marcel drops me an email. He says, this is one reason I left Wisconsin for South Dakota. There are far too many crazy people like Wisconsin Governor Tony Evers in that state. Hey, Marcel, thanks for your thoughts. I always love hearing from you.
Add them on Facebook. Let the tweeting begin. The hashtag does that.
News and views from Belfrage.
Well, the president on Truth Social yesterday promised that he'd start suing dishonest authors, book publishers, and media for anonymous quotes that he doesn't think are real. And he said on True Social, as a president who is being given credit for having the best opening month of any president in history, quite naturally, here come the fake books and stories with the so-called anonymous or off-the-record quotes. At some point, I'm going to sue some of these dishonest authors and book publishers, or even media in general, to find out whether or not these anonymous sources even exist, which they largely do not. They're made up, defamatory fiction, and a big price should be paid for this blatant dishonesty. I'll do it as a service to our country. Who knows? Maybe we will create some nice new law. He put that all in capital letters, nice new law. And then he took aim at the editorial board of the Wall Street Journal. He said, the president said, I don't understand them and I never have. They come to my aid when I least expect it, sometimes very strongly, and I greatly appreciate that, very meaningful. But then they come out with some real clinkers, like today's editorial that my auto tariffs will hurt the Michigan automobile business. They are so wrong. In fact, it's just the opposite. The tariffs will drive massive amounts of auto manufacturing to Michigan. He said they have already stopped numerous auto plants from being built in other countries, a gigantic win already. And then he goes out at length. The president said for Michigan and the United States as a whole, just let it all happen and watch. It won't even be close. American industry will thrive and we will make America great again. So, doesn't understand the Wall Street Journal editorial board. And again, taking action against so-called anonymous authors, and the president saying he doesn't believe that a number of them are even real. And I think a lot of us have suspected that for a while. These so-called anonymous reports. Well, according to 3 anonymous. Oh, 3. Whoa. But they're all anonymous. Oh, yeah. Give me a break. Also, incredibly sad to watch the funeral of Sherry Bibas and her 2 young sons. Drew thousands of people in Israel yesterday. You had large crowds that were lining the streets. You had people crying, a number of others holding Israeli flags, many carrying orange balloons, wearing orange clothing, symbolizing the red hair of the children. So Sherry Bibas was 32. Her children were 4 years old and 9 months, respectively, when they were, wow. Just and heartbreaking stories. And then you had Yarden Bibas delivering this is Daily Wire, delivering a heartbreaking eulogy, they say. And he was fighting back tears as he said, Sherry, this is the closest I've been to you since October 7th, and I can't kiss or hug you, and it's breaking me, he said. Do you remember our last decision together? In the safe room, I asked if we should fight or surrender. You said fight, so I fought. Sherry, I'm sorry I couldn't protect you all. If only I had known what would happen, I wouldn't have fired, he said. The owner of the Washington Post, Jeff Bezos, is revamping the opinion section of the Washington Post. He announced, according to NPR, a sweeping new libertarian vision for the paper's opinion sections yesterday. This is 4 months after his decision then to kill that presidential endorsement of Kamala Harris. You had a number, in fact, hundreds of thousands of people who canceled their subscription to Washington Post. But Bezos said, we are going to be writing every day in support and defense of two pillars, personal liberties and free markets, he said. We'll cover other topics too, of course, but viewpoints opposing those pillars will be left to be published by others, he said. So there's a lot of reaction to this. There's a piece also at Newsmax. He said that the newspaper's opinion editor had decided to step away after his decision then to shift the opinion pages to emphasize personal liberties and free markets. And Bezos said, I offered David Shipley, whom I greatly admire, the opportunity to lead this new chapter. I suggested to him that if the answer wasn't hell yes, then it had to be no. After careful consideration, David decided to step away. So in other words, he couldn't say hell yes. Problems at the Washington Post. All right. Pope Francis continues to improve slightly. So some slight improvement over the past 24 hours. He remains in critical condition. Vatican announced this yesterday. And they said the mild renal failure found in recent days has returned. The chest CT scan performed showed a normal evolution. And they're saying that the blood chemistry and blood tests confirmed improvements. But the mild renal failure has returned. Also trending, Elon Musk. There are always stories regarding Elon Musk and what Doge is doing. Trending. Elon Musk saying that America is going to become bankrupt if it doesn't change its spending habits. So Musk said, as the president had introduced him, Musk said, I actually just call myself a humble tech support hero. As crazy as it sounds, that is almost a literal description of the work of the Doge team that is doing to fix the government the government computer systems. And he said that these computer systems are extremely old and there are a lot of mistakes in the systems. And Musk said, so we are actually tech support. It's ironic, but it's true. And then he talked about the productivity email to federal employees. He said, I think that email was perhaps interpreted as a performance review, but actually it was a pulse check review. Do you have a pulse? And if you have a pulse and two neurons, you could reply to the email. That's what I would say. You know, what's the difficulty in replying to an email? No, you got to kick and scream and bellyache and act like you're, 3 years old. Just shocking, I think, too. So let's take a look at the headlines from Google News, which is always worth a laugh. These are the headlines this morning. I searched Elon Musk cabinet meeting. Here come the BBC, Elon Musk, tariffs and tensions. Takeaways from Trump's cabinet meeting. Here comes the Guardian, the left wing, just outrageously crazy Guardian. Trump cabinet flunkies hail wannabe Caesar and Elon, his oligarch pal. Hey, I'm looking for, actual news. I'm not the Guardian. I am not looking for far left wacko nuttery. There's enough of that in the world. And it just goes on. Musk This is the New York Times. Musk cabinet cameo. The elephant in the room wore black. Oh, man. Also, trending this morning, iPhone owners have been noticing a bug in recent days. If the word Trump autocorrects to racist when you're using speech to text dictation mode. Apple is saying it's a problem with phonetic overlap and a fix is in the works, but there were TikTok videos of this that went viral, and Apple then said, blaming a phonetic overlap between the two words. And they're aware of the issue in our speech recognition model that powers dictation. We're rolling out a fix. So yeah, completely understandable when you're saying the word Trump, the word racist appears. Oh, please. And that, boys and girls, is why I don't have an iPhone. All right, also trending this morning. Oh, there have been concerns, and you may have seen this. Fears explode. This is again from the UK. Trump health fears explode after a mysterious dark mark is seen on his hand. Have you seen this in their photos? And you see close-ups. Here's Trump's hand. He's meeting at the White House. And the back of his right hand is bruised. And this has become such a story. They had the White House actually having to respond to this. And here's the thing, Donald Trump he's shaking hands with folks all of the time. And he's not a young guy anymore. I mean, he's not a young man anymore. I'm not saying he's, in rough shape, but I mean, your body, the mind is willing, the body is weak. You know what I mean? That's the nature of old age. And so, do you see this handshake between the president and Emmanuel Macron when he was in the White House the other day? Macron, they're sitting there and, and it's like, and it was long. It was pronounced. I mean, it was approaching 10 seconds that there's, and then it became a bit of a, superiority struggle. This is the way some are, putting it. Pretty easy to understand why the back of the president's hand is bruised. He's shaking hands all the time. We talked about this yesterday, and now the story is trending this morning. The Illinois politician dubbed America's worst mayor, Tiffany Henyard, lost her re-election battle by a landslide. I love that story. All right, also, Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins laying out the Trump administration's plan to bring down egg prices. The White House announced this yesterday. Rollins wrote in the Wall Street Journal, presented her strategy to combat avian influenza that has devastated American poultry farmers, greatly reduced the egg supply. She said the Ag Department will invest up to $1 billion to deal with that crisis and bring down the price of eggs. And she said, we are working with the Department of Government Efficiency to cut hundreds of millions of dollars in wasteful spending, and then we'll use some of those savings to invest in long-term solutions to avian flu. And she said, which has resulted in about 166 million laying hens being culled since 2022. So she's laying out a plan then to reduce egg prices. Also, the woman accused of trying to Skeen Graceland out of the hands of Elvis Presley's family. Pled guilty this week. Lisa Finley's her name. She changed her plea to guilty on a felony mail fraud charge. So now she'll be unable to withdraw her plea, and she'll be sentenced coming up in June. So the government's recommending 57 months. And as part of her plea, her charge of identity theft will be dropped. Additional charges will not be pursued. This is a sad story. Actress Michelle Trachtenberg, who is known for roles in Gossip Girl, Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and movies like Harriet the Spy. She has died at the age of 39. So she was found dead inside of her New York City apartment, and the cause of her death has not yet been released, but she had recently undergone a liver transplant, and there are thoughts that she may have had some having some problems as a result of that. Also, BP yesterday announcing plans to increase annual oil and gas investment to $10 billion through 2027. They're doing a fundamental strategic reset. So they are now reinvesting. They're going to reinvest in oil and gas versus alternative sources of energy and those kinds of things. And then, hopefully you hope that that's going to be good news for consumers around the globe. And that's a look at the stories trending this morning in Belf's News Gallery. 6:57, mostly clear, 34. This hour of the Greg Belfrage Show brought to you by the Window Shop of Mitchell, offering custom windows starting at $99 a month.
Call us what you want, as long as you call us. Speak your mind on Callow News Talk.
Thank you, my friend, for letting me join you. It's great to have you along. Take care. I hope you have a great day. See you again soon. Please come back.
Understand the area's ag economy. They also